Come on, you guys, let's go. This afternoon, we have officially announced and captured the signing of Marc Cucurella for an eye-watering fee of £63 million from Brighton this afternoon, with Levi Colwill going in the opposite direction, officially on loan until the end of the season. So much to break down. I'll discuss the news reports, Marc's first words, as well as some analysis on the player on what to expect from him for our new season. I hope you guys enjoy it. Of course, shout out to Moody for giving me the beautiful haircut and trim this morning. If you guys are excited for our new season, if you're happy with the signing of Marc Cucurella, then smash the like button, my friends. Let's get 5k likes for Marc, and I'll get straight into the video. So right now, let's break down the news. Today, we announced the signing of Cucurella for 63 million. That's going to be 56 million up front, with 7 million in add-ons, of course, to take it over to 63 mil. And he does sign on a 6-year deal. Now, I'll be curious to know how much his wages are going to be for the new season. You'd imagine it's going to be a very healthy and sizable amount. And I think we've noticed a pattern now with Todd Boehly and the club offering long-term deals and contracts to all our signings that we've made. And for me, it makes a lot of sense. You know, we want to keep that continuity going. We want to keep that competitive foundation going into the future. These are players we're signing that can still grow, that can still improve. And of course, be that reliable cornerstones of the team for years to come. And I think that for certain signings like Marc, it's signing that I thought we've needed for a very long time, maybe over 5 years, to be real with you. I think he is definitely worth that investment. And in that sense, he was worth the sacrifice needed for Levi Colwill to make that move to Brighton. Now, I was kind of alluding to the fact that I wouldn't be surprised that we'd really overspend signing Marc to make sure that we still owned and kept Colwill, because, yeah, Brighton, of course, wanted to sign him with a buyback fee. It was getting difficult, and for a talent like him, of course, with the young talent we've been signing recently, like Cucurella and many other ones, I think Colwill's part of that future group for future seasons. So to lose him and have to re-sign him back for a ridiculous amount of money, it's quite obvious that there were conversations held at the time, and I think it's best for all parties, to be honest, because I get it. We still own Colwill. He will have a great season for Brighton, working with Graham Potter, who, you know, his Brighton team play real football out from the back. So he's going to learn quite a lot. And they've had a habit of signing players and flipping them on for big amounts. Let's look at guys like Ben White. Let's look at guys like Marc, for example, now. So I think he's definitely at the best club in the league to be able to continue his development and be a future option for us in the seasons to come. And as I'm stressing, the sacrifice was worth it, because we've needed a player like Marc for a goddamn long time. Today, he was announced by the club. So right now, let's go to the club's official website to hear the first words from Marc, as well as from our owner and Todd Boehly on what he has to say about our new signing. Now, instantly, I like the fact that he is being photographed in our away kit. I'm waiting for that one to drop. It's not too bad, and it's looking quite snazzy of Marc right now to keep things real. But of course, he's just turned 24 years old. He comes at the right age, in my opinion. And of course, here's what Marc had to say after signing for us. I'm really happy. It's a big opportunity for me to join one of the best clubs in the world, and I'm going to work hard to be happy here and help the team. And here's what Todd Boehly had to say after capturing the player. I mean, credit to Todd, these guys been putting in some serious work. He's still learning on the job as well. Of course, it's a new sport for him, but massive credit goes out to the dedication and the manpower he's been putting in to get these deals over the line. But he says, Marc is an elite defender of proven Premier League quality, and he further strengthens our squads going into the new season. We continue to work on and off the pitch, and we're delighted Marc will be part of the present and future at Chelsea as well too. So of course, there's a lot of foresight going on behind this move. And getting back to things now, the great news is Marc could be making his debut tomorrow against Everton, and that's because he was registered in time. So that's great news. I'm very curious to see how he's going to be used. I would not be surprised if he comes off the bench with like the final 15 minutes to go just to acclimatise, and it'll be very interesting to see what position he takes up. I mean, I probably imagine will be left wing back, and I think the qualities he brings on the left hand side is really gonna improve how we break teams down and how we play. Of course, shout out to go to Fabrizio Romano. He was getting a lot of stick for no reason, and I was quite puzzled and confused by things, because Brighton did the same thing last year with Ben White when he made his move to Arsenal. It's quite obvious why they had to do that, because they wanted to make sure they secured Levi Colwill first before an official announcement was released. I don't think it was that deep or that crazy, to be honest. No surprise, Romano stuck to his guns naturally because he was absolutely correct, and for me it was just common business sense because I saw the same example 12 months ago. With this signing, that brings our total summer investment up to the tune of 162.5 million, with more big signings to come. Reports have suggested that we are willing to spend up to 300 million to give Tuchel the foundations now to, form the squad in his very own image. Him and Barley have worked hand in hand together, communicated directly to make sure that Tuchel's vision does come to life. And I think so far, Koulibaly, Slonina, Chukwuemeka, Raheem Sterling as well too. These are upgrade signings. So for me, it seems like we are looking to do big things in the Premier League for this season. Now, moving on to Levi Colwill, of course, he does join Brighton on loan. We understand this. Here's what Graham Potter had to say after the capture of the loan signing. Levi has enormous potential and has already shown his ability last season in the Championship and with England at various age group levels up to under 21s. I'm really looking forward to working with him on the training pitch and in matches over the course of the season. He plays mostly at centre back, but has also played on the left as a fullback, and he is a player who is comfortable on the ball as well too. So I think he's really going to develop under Graham Potter, who's a guy I've really respected since what he was doing back in Swedish football, a very modern thinking manager, and this type of like little tiki-taka style that Brighton have going on. I mean, they've become like a properly solid mid-table team, so massive credit goes out to what they're doing there. Here's what Tuchel had to say about Colwill's exit. It's a bit hard to judge him as he came back and not a lot of game time to give to him because of a little injury. The situation is a situation. If there is a possibility for him to have a good loan where he can develop, we are open. So I think that is quite curious in that sense. On one hand, Cole has been training with the first team squad since, before he even went on loan to Huddersfield. And of course, the club have a lot of technical guys there who are giving loan reports. So I'd imagine that he's still keeping up to date with things. But maybe Tuchel has, I'm guessing, I'm just taking personal guesses here, maybe he's thinking, listen, Colwill, you have a future. But for me, I feel like I want to see how you perform in the Premier League first, just so it's like you're mentally ready for that challenge of being a first team guy here. You could argue that every player has had like that one big loan. Some guys only needed one, like Reece James, and it was argued that, some people say if you're going to spend all that money on Fofana, why not just give Cole those opportunities instead? But we can't forget, it's a loan move. So we'll come back stronger, and maybe next season, guys like Silva or guys like Azpilicueta could potentially leave, and then Cole comes back even more ready and even more confident to really affect the team and add something straight away. So are we looking at a potential future back line of Colwill and Fofana with guys like Cucurella and Reece James forming that back four? Doesn't look too bad. And as I'm saying, now that I know this is a loan, I'm okay with things, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how Colwill does in the Premier League this season. Now for me, I want to give some of my analysis on the player. Cucurella really impressed me in the Premier League. Now I always thought he was quite silky and technical and elegant. I remember, of course, back when we were linked to him when he was at Getafe, I had a little bit of ifs and buts, but at the same time, I don't know everything about everything. I'm not going to get every opinion right. And he proved me wrong completely, and I think this guy really is an excellent signing to make. For me, I look at the final third play from last season, and it was a bit predictable. And for me, it's fairly obvious. Once we lost Ben and Reece James, those wide rotations, the speed at which we played down there, it went. Guys like Alonso, Azpilicueta, they aren't your overlapping fullbacks. They're not going to make the overloads. We have to play a bit more central, and it made our play in the final third quite boring and quite predictable at times. So for me, this is the signing I had to see, and it's nice that we beat Man City to his signing because he will transform the speed at which we play out wide. And when you have full-time Raheem Sterling, when you have guys like Mount and Kai in the half spaces receiving as well too, that's going to elevate them even more. And I'm hoping that extra speed in the final third will help out Kai Havertz in particular, who has really amazing like ghost runs inside the box that should be found a lot more. So it's like Tuchel, of course, understands what the weaknesses were, and it's great that in this window he's been able to sign upgrade players to obviously help elevate how we play under him. But Cucurella, let's talk about some of the key parts of his game. Now in the Premier League last season, he ranked third for most tackles in the league, which kind of follows on what he was doing at Getafe. He was always a very aggressive style fullback. He'll get very tight to his man, and he's a very high octane player. I think that's what's quite exciting about his game. He's not afraid to get stuck in there with a slide tackle, a hard challenge. Of course, he does overdo it. He does give away a few fouls, but for me, it's the quality of the fouls. As long as it's not near our half, giving away silly free kicks, that's fine. That's not what he does. But for him, he's a high pressure style player. He's going to really help turn our counter pressing game to the next level because he knows how to close down space and read the game very, very well. He intercepts very well and he reads the moves one step ahead every single time. That'll be big. And on top of that too, I like how this guy crosses the ball in the final third. Now I think Ben has good crossing. I'd probably say Cucurella has better crossing in my opinion. He's got that Barca technique absolutely patent. You know those like passing crosses inside the box, finding their man. That's what fullbacks in the modern game need to have. And I think now with guys like your Sterlings, Kais, who will really benefit from this even more. We're going to have that type of crossing output now that clubs like Liverpool and City have. And I think that's big in the modern day game, especially with Raheem Sterling. Using a false nine, we don't have a focal point up front, which makes us a lot more fluid now in the final third, which is what I'm really looking forward to seeing this season, you guys. And knowing that Marc will be able to I'm just curious, how many assists will Marc get for Sterling by himself? It's really mad how this end of the window is starting to shape up. But to continue on even more, Marc is extremely comfortable possession, especially playing out from the back. Middle of the field as well too, and in the final third, the efficiency is on point. Very elegant, very fast. He can get in behind with overlaps and underlaps as well too. And his close control and dribbling in tight areas is very, very good. You know, he's a very proactive style player, and those types of profiles and personalities is what this team needs even more. And I'm kind of happy that it does feel like we finally evolved away now from Marcos Alonso and Azpilicueta, who have been amazing servants for us. But, you know, sometimes the overall team can suffer a little bit. The attacking players can, because they don't necessarily complement like that. So today, you guys, we have pulled off a big move. Incredibly expensive, but the sacrifice is needed knowing the fact that we've bought Marc and we've paid for Colwill to go on loan to develop under one of the best young managers in the league, one of the best possession football teams in the league as well too, knowing that we'll get back a stronger and better player for next season as well. So wow, incredibly exciting. Welcome to Chelsea Football Club, Marc Cucurella. You guys share your thoughts and opinions behind this big news. And on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.